Welcome back to The Dive. Oil, capital flowing into oil exploration plays, inflation, and gold are a few of the topics that our guest will deep dive into today. He is the president and CEO of TransCanada Gold Corp. Tim Coupland's joining us today. But before we bring Tim on, you know the drill. Smash that subscribe button for me, please. Hey, Tim, welcome back to The Dive.
Hey, Cassandra, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Oh, that's great to hear. Okay, well, let's dive right into it now. Let's start off with oil. Oil prices rose due to supply concerns as a result of the Russia-Ukraine tensions, threats to infrastructure in the UAE, and struggles by OPEC to hit its targeted monthly output increase. Where do you think oil prices are heading from here?
Well, I think oil prices continue to stay quite high. We're already at the $70, $80 range right now. I think that with now that the U.S. has lost its geopolitical influence, you're going to see the prices stay considerably higher. I'm already seeing deal flow now in the neighborhood of 3 to 4 exploration plays a day, just on the Canadian side. So I think they will continue to stay high. You just have to look at the price per liter, and I think it's $1.72 here in Vancouver per liter. So with a cold winter and stuff, they're going to stay high here probably for the coming months, January, February, March, anyways.
So given the macro backdrop, do you think we're going to continue to see capital flow into oil exploration plays?
I do. And it's going to be very place specific. It'll go into probably the larger exploration plays, probably light sweet. Just permitting is still an issue and pipeline capacity. So typically the money will flow that has all those areas of concern covered. And I think you'll find the money actually is quite starting to flow, regardless of how you feel about fossil fuels.
Mm-hmm. So what about inflation? Everybody's talking about inflation right now. How big of a problem do you think inflation is for Joe Biden?
Inflation's a big problem. Typically, it's depending on who you talk to, it's running anywhere from 4 to 12% per annum. They've just printed too much money. And they've got supply chain issues. They have Biden has given away the oil and gas independence that America once had. So you've got all these issues creating all these multiple of problems, which are, in my estimation, unforced errors. I mean, to transition to fossil fuels, they've got to give this some thought. And they've got to use some common sense as they implement all their strategies. But inflation now is probably the biggest concern for the average consumer and the average middle-class American and Canadian.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people seem to be sharing the same sentiment there. All right, well, let's shift to gold. Gold has recently rallied, with prices reaching 2-month highs. Do you believe this trend will be able to maintain its gains, particularly considering a hawkish Fed?
Yeah, actually, I do. I think gold is still a safe haven asset. It's still, you look at the ETFs, $1.5 billion last Friday went into the ETFs, exchange traded funds, and that's pretty sizable. And that tells you that the market wants a safe haven asset, and gold is your safe haven asset. All the other, shall we say, market darlings are not holding up as well. Gold, you can see all the money pouring into gold, and it's started. So you're going to see that probably level out, probably the 1900 range, and I think you're going to see it gain more momentum here as we get into more uncertain times. And certainly, if Russia invades Ukraine, I mean, all bets are off. I mean, nobody really knows where this is all going to go.
Mm-hmm. So what are the key price levels for gold that it needs to break that people should be watching?
I think we're there now. I think we're between 1900. Breakout is going to be, if it hits 1900 and certainly goes in the mid 1900s to 2000. I mean, you're going to see I think you're going to see a considerable breakout, and probably the likes of which we've never seen before. But I think it's coming, and it's going to be just because of all the geopolitical turbulence right now. I think people are just putting their money where they know it's safe, and that's physical gold, because gold typically always appreciates.
Definitely. All right, well, let's talk about TransCanada here. The company announced it has defined and identified multiple new gold drill targets on the Crippleback Lake Gold Project. Could you give us an update on this?
Sure. So we've basically compiled all our data on our airborne surveys. We've compiled that and lined them up with our gold targeting, and we fully expect to be drilling here probably in the spring months here, April, May, June. It's still considerably cold in Newfoundland now. I think it's 20 below there right now, but we're going to do things properly, and we're just going to build up our asset base and do it properly so that we we're going to have the legs to make it through the next 5 years. And we're still permitting our Ontario projects. We have multi-ounce intercepts on one of our Ontario projects, which we'll probably get to this year as well. But we're just playing everything safe and doing things not as high speed as we would normally do, just because of COVID. There's a lot of uncertainties that have been factored in that have affected how we do things. But we'll get there, and we just do things properly, make sure the bricks and mortars are in place.
All right, Tim. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and chatting with us. We'll have you back when there's assay results.
Thanks very much, Cassandra. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thanks so much for watching today. We'll be back again tomorrow with the latest news and updates, so be sure to stay tuned by hitting the notification bell and subscribing below.